So this next part is not about a transfer. It's about a potential transfer. We don't really cover a lot of Scottish football too much, usually because there's not much going on. But yeah, with Scottish football, the big transfer news is Jack Wilshere potentially to Rangers. Now, when I first watched Jack Wilshere play, I can vividly remember sitting down in my mother's living room when I was watching the Emirates Cup, and Jack Wilshere came on against Real Madrid. And he came on and he was absolutely electric. When I say he was electric, I mean he's like a little midget running around the pitch, right? But he had this low central gravity. And every time he picked up the ball, he just touched it with his sweet left foot. And he was passing and moving, and he was just terrorizing Real Madrid. And at that moment, I remember thinking, wow, what a player. And as time went on, I'm not an Arsenal fan, by the way. I'm a United fan. But I watched Jack Wilshere and I just admired him. And I just remember thinking, wow, what a football player. And I know Guardiola made the whole statement where he's like, Jack Wilshere, there's a million of them in Spanish academies. And there probably is, right? But there's not too many Jack Wilsheres on these British Isles. He is a supremely talented boy. Now, the problem Jack Wilshere has is, and I'm going to say this, and it's a bold statement, it's the same problem Phil Jones has. Phil Jones on his day is a very capable defender, right? But Phil Jones cannot stay fit. And the reason Phil Jones can't stay fit is because he was born with footballing ability, but he wasn't born with a body to play at the top level. You look at a Sergio Ramos or Cristiano Ronaldo, they have a combination of the two. They have a footballing brain and a footballing body. They're built to be at the top level, and they're built to last. And when you look at certain English players, maybe it's the demands of the game, but you look, Phil Jones now is really on the outers at Manchester United. Daniel Sturridge is without a club. Jack Wilshere is without a club. And, the demands are quite high. So go into the Scottish League where, okay, there's an intensity, right? It's a physical league. It's not the most technically gifted league in the world, but it is quite physical. I think somebody like a Jack Wilshere could thrive at Rangers. And I think under Steven Gerrard, someone who will want to, get the best out of him, I think it would be a perfect move for him. What do you reckon, Reece?
Well, look, you mentioned that England doesn't have too many Jack Wilsheres. Well, a place that has even fewer Jack Wilsheres is Scotland. Let's not pretend here. Let's not pretend for a moment that Jack Wilshere is going to Rangers because he wants to win Champions Leagues or he wants to win titles and things like that. Titles maybe. You don't come back from the Scottish League. You don't. You might have used to back in the day, but now the standard of football in Scotland is extremely poor, and it's so poor that you having a great season in the Scottish League proves absolutely nothing at the top level. That being said, what Jack Wilshere can do now, I mean, we're assuming that this move isn't, just for the love of the game or what have you. I'll come on to that in a second. But what he can do is, if he can stay fit for a season and establish himself as the main player in that Rangers side, and he can stay fit for maybe 2 seasons and show the world, actually, I have got a body, then, that opens up foreign moves for him. That opens up mid-level Premier League moves for him.
Yeah.
When the time does come around and agents do want to play those games, he actually has a leg to stand on, if you're pardon the pun. Now, obviously, I understand. He's played with Gerrard at England. He obviously knows Steven Gerrard, and Rangers do have some good players. But let's be frank here. Rangers fans will agree. Even Jack Wilshere with one leg, Rangers have Alfredo Morelos, Yanis Hagi, Kemal Roof, Brian Kent, Jermaine Defoe, these good players. But let's not pretend for a moment that Jack Wilshere is not, with one leg, is not the best player in that team, or the league, for that matter. So for Rangers, if they can manage to get Jack Wilshere, I mean, I don't know how they're paying his wages. They might have to go back into Division 4 to do so. But if they can manage to get him, then it all works out. Then that's a massive signing. That's a massive signing. And Steven Gerrard is doing a great job. Trying to push Celtic now. And Celtic are there for the taking. They don't, they're not brilliant anymore. They're going for 10 in a row. There's big pressure on Gerrard to be able to deliver this season. And Neil Lennon is an incredibly poor manager at Celtic. So there is the opportunity this season for Rangers to be able to stop that right at the death. Because I know that up in Glasgow, the 10 in a row is all anyone talks about. It's is huge. So it is, shit or bust for Rangers this year. So it will be massive. Jack Wilshere, he has nothing to lose and everything to gain, because no one here thinks of him as particularly a world-class player or anything like that. No one thinks that he can even last 90 minutes on a football pitch. So he's got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, it's an interesting move. Like you said, it could be a launch pad to something maybe a bit better without being disrespectful to Rangers. Like, I know before he made the West Ham move, and the West Ham move, I always felt like it was very sentimental for him because he was a West Ham fan growing up. Whereas I think he was linked with AC Milan, and I just remember thinking, oh, Jack, take that AC Milan move, really go play for another prestigious club and show him what you're made of. And that league would have probably suited him better, because Serie A realistically is full of very technically gifted players. Obviously defensively can be a little rough at times, but the pace of the game I think would have suited him better. So if he uses Rangers as a launch pad for something different, fair enough. If he stays there and he's happy, fair enough. He may not even go there. It's all hypothetical right now. But if I'm Jack Wilshere's agent, I'm pushing him towards that move. I'm like, look, you're going to have to take maybe a little bit of a pay cut, because ultimately you can't, you're not going to be able to command this type of salary you were commanding before. Some clubs may even look at him, without sounding disrespectful, and say, you can get we'll pay you as you play, or play as you, I don't know what they call it, play as you pay or pay as you play. But one of those types of deals where basically you're only giving him money if he's on the pitch, because you can't fork out a contract for Jack Wilshere and then he's out for 8 months and you're pushing him around Ibrox in a wheelchair. Like, that ain't going to happen, do you know what I mean? That's not going to go down like that. But Rangers fans, again, let us know your opinion. Jack Wilshere, yay or nay? Do you want him in the side? Do you not want him in the side? Is he a good signing? Is he a bad signing? Let us know.